For thousands of years, we've been lighting fires using traditional methods with flint and steel, and then more recently with ferro rods. And then, as time's become more and more modern with the advent of electricity, lighters, matches, gas, etc., we've lost the skill of being able to light a fire. And it's a skill that it can save your life if you're in a remote area and you don't have access to matches or lighters, or they've got wet or they've got lost. So I'm going to go through my 3 favourite methods of lighting a fire, which is using silver birch bark, fatwood, and then also the bird's nest. And it's just using a ferro rod and a steel striker. But equally, you could use flint and steel. So I use flint and steel quite regularly, but I'm just going to use a ferro rod because it's a bit easier. But I'm going to show you my 3 favourite ways of lighting a fire. So this is silver birch bark, and as you can probably guess, it comes off the silver birch tree, amazingly. And you don't actually hurt the tree when you take the bark off. So as the tree grows, and the outer layer of bark, it sheds off like a skin. It doesn't grow with the tree, and you can just peel it off the tree. And this is great. It's a great way for lighting a fire. All it needs is a spark. Now, all you need to do is just rough the edges up a little bit, just to get some fine material. And then you can just use a ferro rod, drop a spark onto it, and it will catch. Sometimes it catches straight away, sometimes it needs a little bit of work, but it's a great way of lighting a fire, and it works pretty well if it's wet also. So all I'm going to do with this is just going to rough up one of the pieces just to get some finer bits. I found that sometimes you can just rub it just to get a couple of smaller bits of the bark. It's just easier, or it should catch the spark easier. So I'm not building a fire today or nothing, it's just to show you how to actually get the first part of the fire lit. So just using a ferro rod, and a knife. And there we go. And that'll burn for a good length of time. So it's quite a slow burning method of getting a fire lit, and doesn't require much work. So it's quite easy then, once you've got that on the go, just put some small or kindling on just to build it up. Another way of lighting a fire is using fatwood. So this is a branch off of a pine tree, and as the pine tree grows, the lower branches come out of the tree and they die off because the tree wants all the foliage at the top of the tree. So the branch at the bottom are they're not needed anymore, so the tree lets them die. And the tree's also clever because it doesn't want the tree knows it doesn't want to allow any insects or any parasites or any diseases to come back into the main trunk of the tree. So what it does, it puts loads of sap in the branch of the twig or the stick that comes off the main trunk of the tree, and it fills it with resin, and that resin then is what gives us the fatwood. And the difference is, on one side you can see it's kind of like an orangey colour, there's a real kind of terpy smell to it, and then the other side it's white, which is just the normal colour of the wood. So this is a method I use pretty much all winter, and one stick like this can pretty much last me all winter, just to get some scrapings with the sharp edge of the knife, and then with the back of the knife just to get some fine material. So there's a bit more work involved in getting a fire lit, but this is, I think this is brilliant, especially where we live, because there's just an abundance of pine. And again, you don't have to go out around killing trees or hurting trees. There's so much dead fallen that you can just go to either the root system, where there is a dead fallen tree and there'll be loads of resin in the root system, or the lower branches where the branches have died off. If you cut 10 branches, you probably find 7 to 8 of them will have some element of fatwood in it. So I'll show you this method also. So what I'm going to do with this is, with the sharp edge of the knife, just take some very thin slithers just where the fatwood sits on this branch. And again, I'm going to try and keep it all dry, because probably like you, we've had the wettest year I can remember in a long time. So you get material like that. You can always use the back of the knife. So this has a 90-degree spine on it. So you can use the back of the knife here and just scrape down against with the grain of the wood and just create some really, really fine material. And that's going to be even easier to light. And then again, just with my ferro rod, just going to drop a spark down onto it. And there we go. And again, it'll burn quite slowly. And then the third method is called the bird's nest. And you just get material. So you're just looking to get dry tinder material just to kind of mimic what a bird's nest would look like, or what you'd imagine a bird's nest to look like. So the inside you have some really, really dry, really small fine material, and then as it gets outer to the outer layer, it gets a bit more coarse, a bit thicker. And all you do with that is you just put an ember inside it, and then just use your breath just to blow on the ember, and then the oxygen from your breath then begins to ignite or to burn the ember, and then hopefully that heat then transfers into the tinder and you create your fire that way. So it is soaking here. It's been raining for days off and on, so I'm going to have a hunt around, try and find some dry material and show you what this looks like. So I've made a real rough kind of very, very small bird's nest. The material we have around here, everything is just a little bit too wet to really use all the tinder material. Is just really, really wet. So I'm going to cheat a little bit and just use the silver birch bark that I've processed earlier, and just show you, because it'll still demonstrate, so I'll still show you what it looks like. So what I'm going to put inside the bird's nest is a little bit of char cloth, and this is just cotton just been heated in a tin without oxygen, and it just chars it, so you end up with a black material. It's really, really fine, falls apart really easily. It's 100% cotton, has to be 100% cotton, and if you drop a spark onto that, it'll just glow like the end of a cigarette. And then you put that in your bird's nest and you just blow on it, and that then will transform into a fire, he says confidently and hopefully. So I'll just get this lit. I'll drop a spark on this, show you. As you can see, just dropped a spark on there. It just glows red. It's bloody hot as well, but it won't burn. Oh, hot, 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 hot. So that won't actually catch fire, but it'll just burn hot. So I'm going to get a piece of that, put it in the bird's nest, and then come back and show you. So I've just got the char material inside the bird's nest there, just with a there we go. Again, hot, 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 hot. So the method that I most enjoy teaching, the look of joy on somebody's face when they light a fire that way, just with a little bird's nest, and just blowing, 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 and then they just turn that into a fire. It's just it's an awesome thing to see, and the smile on somebody's face the first time, it is a precious moment. It's amazing. I think it just connects us with our past, where we were all able to light fires, and if we couldn't light a fire, so we couldn't cook, we couldn't heat things, we couldn't keep warm, and we didn't have that community. So teaching fire and being around fire, in that sense, I just find it's an amazing skill to have, an amazing skill to share with other people. So they're my 3 favourite ways of lighting a fire. Again, where we live in the UK, there's an abundance of fatwood, of pine and fatwood. It's not that hard to find. It's quite easy to actually get hold of. Silver birch, there's not much of it, but when you know where the birch trees are, A couple of birch trees, 2 or 3 birch trees will give you so much birch bark over the course of the year, just as the tree's growing. So a mature tree, sort of, you know, maybe 20, 25, 30 years of age, will just be giving you so much birch bark without hurting the tree whatsoever. So that's a great resource. And then the final way, if you've got char cloth or char wood prepared with you, again, just dropping a spark onto that, getting some tinder material and just blowing into it. They're my 3 favorite methods. I love these methods. I'd love to hear the methods that you guys use. I was actually shown or discussed a method by Dennis, another bushcraft guy I know this week, was doing a bit of work together, and he was explaining that if you get ash or charcoal from your fire and ash from your fire, it's all dried out, and put it in cotton wool and roll the cotton wool up, and then put it between 2 pieces of wood and rub it vigorously, and it creates an ember, so you can light a fire that way. So I've never actually done that myself, so that's something I'm going to give a go. But I'd love to hear different ways you use to light fire, or if you use the methods I use, and do you do anything different with it? Do you have your own little ways of doing it? So I'd love to hear from that. So guys, thanks for watching.